Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, I'm proud to present an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the all-new 2015 Volkswagen Golf GTI. This particular one is an Autobahn equipped with the DSG dual-clutch gearbox. Big shout out and thanks to Volkswagen for providing us this week-long tester. As always guys, this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the GTI. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, go over the performance data, take it on a thorough drive, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior.
And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, let it run.
Our tester is finished in Tornado Red. The GTI comes standard with this Clark plaid cloth upholstery, which looks really cool in person. But our tester, equipped with the Autobahn package, features the Titan black leather upholstery with red accent stitching. Along with the standard smart key entry system, the GTI features push-button ignition by the silver button in the center console. To start, all you have to do, just make sure you hit the key fob within the interior, put your foot on the brake, then hold the button to go. The GTI features rack and pinion steering with electric power assistance, routed through a highly detailed and sporty 3-spoke flat-bottom leather-wrapped steering wheel. It has a varying ratio between 9.5 to 1 and 14.1 to 1 and takes 2.1 turns to lock, making it feel much more responsive and agile compared to your normal Golf. Turning circle stays the same at 35.8 feet. The look and feel reminds me of an Audi somewhat, with a fantastic contour design and grip bolsters up top that keeps things engaging. There's plenty of satin bright work around the airbag cover, multifunction controls, and lower split spoke. Red accent cross-stitching sets the GTI apart, as does a unique emblem in the bottom. So the GTI is available with two different transmissions, the standard being a 6-speed manual, while our tester is equipped with the optional 6-speed DSG dual-clutch automatic transmission. After pulling the selector into drive, you can shift it manually by tipping the selector to the right and moving it forward and backward, or by using the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, which also come with rev-matching downshifts. While in drive or regular automatic, you can tip the selector back to activate the transmission's sport programming, which raises the shift points and again activates rev-matching downshifts. Placing it into reverse automatically brings up your backup camera with parking sensors and guidance lines. The shifter is wrapped in leather, has the DSG logo on top, some bright work, and double accent red stitching. The manual transmission is actually designed to look like a golf ball. To the left-hand side, you have your various driving modes between normal, sport, and individual. In the normal cars like our tester, you can adjust the steering wheel heft, not to mention throttle response, but if equipped with the performance package and the adaptive dampers, they also correspond to how firm you want the dampers. The front lighting corresponds to the cornering lamps that I'll cover a little bit later in the video, so they come on quicker if you're driving fast around bends at night. I haven't driven the 6-speed, but if I had the choice, I think I would still pick the DSG. It's a fantastic transmission. It's very responsive, and being a dual-clutch unit, gear changes are practically instant. The paddle shifters make things a little bit more dynamic and keeps the vehicle in the power band longer for quicker response and acceleration. I also like the paddle's positioning right behind the upper spoke, so it's easy to grip the wheel 3 and 9. Being that they're actually connected to the wheel, it gives you easy access to the paddles when in mid-corner. So let's go ahead and flip on the automatic optional bi-xenon adaptive headlamps, LED fog lamps, and the hazards. All 4 windows are fully automatic. So let's go ahead and check out the exterior. The Volkswagen GTI practically defined the hot hatch segment when it hit the US market back in 1983, offering plenty of performance and practicality in a relatively compact package. Recently, Volkswagen launched an all-new GTI for the 2015 model year based on the award-winning 7th generation Golf. In general, the Golf gains sharper, sleeker styling with greater attention to detail that expresses a modern reinterpretation of its classic shape. Slimmer, angular headlamp clusters are complemented by redesigned tail lamps. A narrow upper grille dominates the forward-facing front end, along with more aggressive body creases and bold wheel arches. Additional horizontal body elements, including a line that extends past new GTI fender emblems, add more definition across the sides and roof line. The GTI distinguishes itself from a normal Golf by a red horizontal accent line that traces across the grille and extends into each headlamp. You'll also find standard LED fog lamps and then a series of horizontal strakes on either side of a unique mesh lower grille. Across the sides, subtle side skirts give the GTI a more planted stance, while the rear fascia houses twin polished exhaust tips and a unique diffuser. A rooftop spoiler rounds off the sporty vibe. The GTI is available as both a 3-door and 5-door hatchback in the S and SE trims, but the range-topping Autobahn like we have here can only be had on a 5-door. Pricing for each model and our tester can be found in the description box below. This example features the optional lighting package, which replaces the standard halogen headlamps with bi-xenon HID headlamps with LED daytime running lights and an adaptive front lighting system. It's a $995 option and one I would highly suggest going for. They're not only super stylish, but they greatly benefit nighttime visibility. The main beam turns with the steering wheel up to 15 degrees in either direction, illuminating curves in the road ahead above 6 miles an hour. Automatic halogen cornering lamps come on if you're making a sharp turn, such as in an intersection. Once the wheel is brought back in line, the cornering lamps gently fade out. It's so cool. While the GTI's general proportions and shape are familiar, the biggest changes are hidden in the chassis. It's one of the first US market vehicles built on the new MQB or modular transverse matrix platform, which dictates a fixed relationship between the front wheel centerline and pedal box. This newfound architecture led to a complete redesign of the Golf's body in white, making it lighter and stiffer than ever before. The unibody has two solid-mounted subframes with bolt-on front fenders, utilizing more advanced construction techniques throughout. For example, a device called a laser clamp welder now applies welds in a wave pattern to maximize strength in tight areas, offering up to 4 times the strength of a typical spot weld. The stamped steel body panels and chassis also use more high-strength steel than before, now 28% versus 6%. While more advanced ultra-high-strength steel now makes up 9% of the body shell, allowing for the use of thinner and lighter materials that can be tailored more precisely to vary metal thickness based on the area and strength requirements. All of this leads to a 10% increase in torsional rigidity and a drop of 51 pounds for the body in white. Vehicle curb weight sees reductions between 53 and 82 pounds compared to the previous GTI, especially since compared to its predecessor, the new GTI is a slightly larger, roomier, and more refined-feeling car. Overall length increases by 2.1 inches while width is gained 0.5 inches, however height drops by 1.1 inches. The wheels sit 1.7 inches further forward with the MQB architecture, given what Volkswagen describes as a premium cab backward aesthetic. Interior room also sees increases, but we'll cover that more in a bit. The GTI continues with a set of sweet-looking 18 by 7.5 inch 5-spoke alloy wheels. They look like rotating blades with their polished spokes and made to stand out with black painted pockets. They come wrapped in 225/40 Bridgestone all-season tires, while summer performance tires are optional, able to hold around 0.95 g of lateral acceleration. Bringing the GTI to a stop at an estimated 105 feet or 12.3 inch internally ventilated disc brakes up front and solid 10.7 inch discs in the rear, featuring 4-wheel ABS and electronic brake force distribution. Stepping up to the performance package gets you larger 4-wheel ventilated discs measuring 13.4 inches in front and 12.2 inches in the rear for even greater stopping power. Red single-piston penny calipers are standard across the board, while the upgraded brakes feature white GTI lettering on the calipers to distinguish them. The GTI's fully independent coilover suspension consists of a strut-type setup in front with lower control arms and a 24mm diameter anti-roll bar. A multi-link design can be found out back with a 20mm anti-roll bar. Both roll bars are slightly thicker than a normal Golf. The GTI also rides 0.6 inches lower to the ground. For the first time in the US, GTIs equipped with a performance package can opt for VW's Dynamic Chassis Control Adaptive Damping System. It manages the suspension's rebound and compression rates individually, making it more responsive to changing road conditions. Adding to more well-rounded performance over a standard Golf, the GTI is equipped with an XDS Plus cross differential system, an upgraded setup over its predecessor. Basically, it's a brake-based electronic substitute for a mechanical limited slip differential. If one of the 4-wheel sensors detects the wheels become unloaded, the system will apply the brake to the inside driven wheel as needed to reduce understeer during high-speed cornering. It should come as no surprise that the GTI is an immensely fun car to drive and toss into corners. The steering is nicely weighted and builds up added resistance as you turn it. It's very responsive and agile. Ride quality is on the stiff side, but it's not uncomfortable, especially with the sports seats. Comparing it to the Golf Sport Wagon, the GTI's stiffer suspension and lower ride height really make a big difference when it comes to creating a more dynamic car through the bends. Opting for the performance package, which unfortunately was not equipped on our tester, takes things even further by adding a genuine torque-sensing limited slip differential to work alongside the XDS Plus and stability systems. VAQ sends torque to the wheel with the most traction based on the speed of travel, yaw, and lateral g-forces to maintain a proper torque balance between the front wheels. It can even send up to 100% of the torque to one wheel if needed, again working to reduce understeer and torque steer. Overall length is 168 inches with a width of 70.8 inches and a height of 56.8 inches, riding on a wheelbase of 103.6 inches. Total curb weight for the automatic four-door is around 3,086 pounds. The new GTI is powered by a thoroughly updated 2-liter turbocharged and intercooled 4-cylinder. The engine features 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cam, and the latest variable cam phasing system, which not only controls valve lift but timing for both the intake and exhaust valves. The engine's direct injection system also delivers fuel at higher pressures than before. Compression ratio is rated at 9.6 to 1 with a red line around 6,000 RPM. A revised engine design, which consists of an aluminum alloy cross-flow cylinder head and a cast iron block, is said to reduce weight this go-around by focusing on lighter materials and construction techniques, such as aluminum, a polymer oil pan, a forged steel crankshaft, reducing the amount of counterweights by half, and modifying the engine block. Volkswagen claims the engine weighs just 72 pounds and benefits from reduced internal friction for greater overall efficiency. It develops 210 horsepower at 4,500 RPM and 258 pound-feet of torque between 1,500 and 4,500 RPM, thanks to a single twin-scroll turbocharger. This represents an increase of 10 horsepower and 51 pound-feet of torque over last year's GTI. Opting for the performance package, in addition to the aforementioned upgrades, gets you 10 additional horsepower. It also holds peak torque for an additional 200 RPM for a total of 220 horsepower at 4,700 RPM. A launch control system is standard with the DSG gearbox. As good as the GTI feels shifting through the gears, I can only imagine how good the Golf R is. The GTI thoroughly impressed me by how quick it was, especially with the DSG gearbox. It feels peppy and highly energetic. It also sounds excellent. Engineers did a great job, it seems, when it comes to filling the cabin with a unique sound that befits its performance nature. Fuel economy is estimated to be between 25 miles to a gallon in the city and 33 on the highway, an improvement of 1 mile to a gallon in both ratings. The GTI also features a 13.2 gallon tank and requires premium unleaded. The manual transmission is somewhat comparable, stretching an extra mile in the highway rating, while representing an even greater improvement over its predecessor. The GTI's interior is all new for 2015 and combines the latest technology, safety, and overall passenger comfort and ergonomics. Speaking of comfort, there's a lot of extra interior room, especially headroom, shoulder room, and a little bit of repositioning as far as the gearbox, the pedals, and the seat, so it's a little bit more of a driver-oriented interior than before. The center stack is even angled towards the driver to give that cockpit feel. The nice thing about the interior, as expected, it carries over the premium build quality elements such as the soft touch plastics and material across the door panels, dash, and some areas of the center console, not to mention unique GTI specific elements such as the red accent stitching and faux carbon fiber trim, not to mention the plenty of aluminum satin silver bits. The GTI's unique sports seats can be either had in the standard plaid cloth upholstery or premium leather like we have here. They're fully powered with power lumbar and offer a fantastic amount of lateral support up top and down below. They're on the firmer side, but they still have a good amount of give to keep it comfortable on long trips. The steering wheel is manual tilting telescoping for added customizability, and the headrest and seatbelts are both adjustable. I also like the detailing of the seats with the pleated accents across the middle and the red accent stitching. Definitely gives off a sporty vibe, especially with that flared upper backrest. There's an all-black headliner with LED illumination. The GTI even has specific red LED illumination, such as the aluminum door sill kick plates and across the doors. The steering wheel, like I said, is manual tilting, telescoping. To the left-hand side of the dash, you have a little storage cubby, and down in the very bottom, you have aluminum-like sport pedals. The upper dash is wrapped in soft touch material, and you also have more of the GTI-specific interior trim, a high-gloss black that almost mimics carbon fiber. There's small quarter windows at the bottom of the A-pillar for better visibility, and this one features a power sunroof.
So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. let's go ahead and shut her up. It also has really solid sounding panels.
This GTI features the premium Fender 9-speaker audio system with rear-mounted subwoofer. With powerful lows and crisp highs, it's a fantastic sounding audio system. It's all routed through a 5.8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, pretty much identical to the one in my Sportwagon review, only this particular one actually features navigation in the top right-hand corner. I've covered this all before in my previous Sportwagon review, so if you want to learn a little bit more about how all the features and functionality work, click the link in the top right-hand corner of the video screen or in the description box below. You have your side curtain airbags, padded A-pillars, grip handles up top, and visors. The visors also have LED illumination up top, not to mention a vanity mirror and a card holder to the right. There's a manually dimming rearview mirror, and up top you have your SOS emergency roadside assistance, hands-free Bluetooth microphones, a padded sunglass container, not to mention your LED illumination, reading lamps, and controls for the fully automatic sunroof. Continuing down the console, the GTI comes standard with a dual-zone electronic automatic climate control system. You have 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger, your different zones up top, fan speed in the middle, syncing both sides, temperature, front and rear defrost. Just ahead of the gear selector is a little storage cubby that houses your Volkswagen media input cable. It's more of a older 30-pin design. I don't know if they actually have a lightning cable or something like that available. I wish it just came with like a couple USB ports or something like that. It'd be a lot more flexible with adding like different types of devices without having to use an adapter or anything like that. Continuing on back, you have a 12-volt power outlet, 2 cup holders, a little bit of high-gloss black trim on the e-brake with the accent stitching, and a padded center console, again with accent stitching. Opens up to a modest amount of space, otherwise it's adjustable so you can increase the angle of it for better comfort. There's also an extra power outlet. As far as the steering wheel, on the left-hand side you have your cruise control, radio volume, additional radio controls, hands-free telephone, voice commands, and your driver information system. The voice commands, just tap the little talk button. Help.
To switch to another context, say navigation or telephone, you can also say instead, help.
Cancel.
Voice operation cancelled.
Wiper controls to the right, and your high beams turn signals to the left. The driver information system has a similar style like you would find with the infotainment system. When you click that little toggle wheel, you can go between things like navigation, audio, telephone, vehicle status. There's a lap timer, driving data, various assist systems. When you select an option such as driving data, you hit OK, it brings up a menu, there's a little digital speed readout, and then you can use this little arrow key to go between the different sub-menus, and that all depends on which screen that you're in. Alrighty. Go ahead and shut her down. And we'll check out the back seat. Alright guys, like we talked about earlier, the GTI is available in both a 2-door and 4-door configuration. While the 2-door looks pretty sweet, the 4-door, for obvious practical reasons, is a little bit of a better offering just because of how much easier it is to get into the back seat with 2 extra doors. Many of you probably saw my recent review of the Golf TDI Sportwagon as well. As far as the overall environment, the comfort, feel, interior room, it doesn't really differ all that much. I don't even think the headroom really differs at all. Like the other one, there's a little bit more backseat room for 2015, namely in shoulder space, so you can be a little bit more accommodating back here if you wanted to sit a middle row passenger. Like the front, backseat build quality feels very solid, and while it's an attractive environment overall, it doesn't use quite as much premium materials like you find in the front. You still have the carpeted portion in the lower door pockets, you have padded armrest, but the upper portions of the door panel are more of a harder material. You still have this unique GTI like faux carbon fiber type trim across the doors, silver accenting, aluminum door handles, air registers down below, grip handles up top, coat hooks not only up top but on the B-pillars, and 2 LED reading lamps. So it's definitely a nice environment. You have 2 storage pockets down below there, and pretty nice armrest. Has a lot of padding to it, incorporates 2 cup holders, and you can bring out this trunk pass-through to stow longer items. If you choose to sit 3 people back here, there is an adjustable third headrest, which is good for long-term comfort. And just overall comfort is actually pretty good back here while we're talking about that. I mean, you sit down nice and low. It may be a little bit too low for taller passengers, but it holds you in quite well. And someone of my height, just 5'10", I sit back here just fine, and it's not hard to get in and out whatsoever. Comfort was also pretty good. Like the front, the back seats are a little bit on the firm side. I'd like a little bit of extra lumbar, but it's still pretty comfortable. Overall room, like I said, I'm 5'10". I probably have 2.5 inches of leg space and maybe about 3 inches or so of head space. Of course, you do have side curtain airbags, and like the front, the back seats emulate that rib pattern across the middle, the red accent stitching, and there's child seat anchors down in the bottom here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Very simple environment, but accommodating. So let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle. Out back, the cargo area sees its own bit of revisions, including a 0.7-inch lower load sill and 1.9 inches of additional opening width. Overall capacity is increased by 0.8 inches compared to last year's model. After removing the privacy cover, you can store up to 22.8 cubic feet of cargo behind the seats. Fold them down though and it expands to 52.7 cubic feet. There's cargo tie-downs, a 12-volt power outlet, and if you lift the trunk floor, which can be raised and lowered a bit for added practicality, you have a spare tire down below, all of your jacking equipment, and the subwoofer built into the tire well. The seats fold down 60-40 split and are super easy by just grabbing the little tabs on top of the backrest. The passenger seat is manual for the most part. It has power recline, but manual height adjustment and manual sliding. Down below you have a locking glove box that has a pretty good amount of space. It's lined in soft velour, has LED illumination, and also houses your CD player with 2 SD card inputs. One of the slots houses the card for the navigation system. If you're looking for a practical and thrifty vehicle but want something that's fun and built with quality, the Volkswagen Golf lineup should be on your list of things to consider, especially the GTI if performance is more your thing. It blends premium styling and features with reasonable fuel economy for a pretty good value overall.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the all-new 2015 Volkswagen Golf GTI. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.